Yo, what's going on, everybody? This your boy OD coming in again with Tough Room Sports. Coming in right after this huge playoff win for the Alabama Crimson Tide over the Oklahoma Sooners, 34-24 on the road. It was a huge road victory for the Alabama Crimson Tide, who everybody especially after that lackluster performance against the Bulldogs in the SEC championship game, a lot of people didn't give them a chance. A lot of people thought they wouldn't do well and they were going to be one and done. If that, a lot of controversy behind them getting in over Notre Dame, who, let's be honest, they would have lost because we saw them against top tier teams all year and they found ways to lose. So congrats to the Alabama Crimson Tide, who got a huge victory, especially after coming back from being down 17-0 in the first quarter, which to me is pretty remarkable. That your team was, I'm sorry, it was 17-0 at the beginning of the second quarter, not the first quarter, but still, that's really early on in the game. The defense isn't really holding up. Fernando Mendoza, for some reason, is just going completely off on everything that you're doing, and you know, I don't know how that defense rallied, but good on them. Uh, and watching this game, it just made me think that Alabama's a lot better than what people gave them credit for. Now, I think a lot of that had to do with their performance in the SEC championship game. More than anything, it wasn't really based off of facts. It wasn't based off of, what people saw on the field. And a lot of people also internalized that game against Florida State early in the season a little bit too much, which to me, I don't think that's fair. It's a completely different team early in the season. I believe it was Ty Simpson's first game starting as Alabama's starting quarterback. So he was shaking off some jitters. That defense didn't show up. The run defense really wasn't great all year, but against Oklahoma, who wasn't the best running team in the world all season long, I definitely think that they didn't hurt them. But man, in that second quarter, Alabama really turned it on after they went down 17-0. So I have to give them a lot of credit for that, for the resilience, um, and starting off that scoring with Alabama after that touchdown where John Mateer delivered that 7-yard pass to Isaiah Satania. On that very next drive, Alabama went 9 plays, 75 yards, and they got a huge 10-yard touchdown pass to Brooks from Ty Simpson, um, which put them right back in the game. And of course, their defense gave up a quick first down, but pretty much it was a 3-and-out the next drive for the Oklahoma Sooners, whose offense was lethargic all season. So I'm surprised they got to 17 points as early as they did. I think that's the only thing that saved them this entire game. Alabama's next drive after Oklahoma's punt and also that huge punt return that was blocked by Alabama. 5-play, 13-yard drive, took 2 minutes, 15 seconds off the clock. I think the 2:15 was bigger than the yardage on that because they got to drain some more time off that clock in the first half so they can get to halftime a little bit sooner and get to regroup. But they got a field goal on that drive, bringing it closer, having Oklahoma only up 17-10 at that point. Very next drive, and Oklahoma fans, close your eyes, turn your heads. It was that pick six. It was the huge pick six by Xavier Brown from John Mateer, who, man, he's just been a turnover machine all year long. Uh, I think what I think the thing that sucks about John Mateer is that he came in with a lot of hype because he came from that Washington State system, the same one that Cam Ward was in the year before him, and he put up huge numbers himself. And I think people just thought, oh, he's another quarterback, same system will put up huge numbers, and they didn't look at it and say, man, but the competition wasn't the same at all. You know, Cam Ward played against the actual Pac-12 before it basically broke up. John Mateer played against the Mountain West slash Sun Belt slash whatever teams they could cobble together on a horrible schedule that they put together up there at Washington State. He's just been a turnover machine. I think the way he looks, I don't think he took a step forward. I think he took a couple steps forward as far as competition, and it really showed all season long. And this game, after that first quarter, John Mateer definitely was rocked and threw that huge pick six to Oklahoma, to Alabama and Xavier Brown, who had a huge return, avoided getting tackled close to the goal line, and Oklahoma just ended the half on a 6-play, 28-yard drive that didn't go anywhere. Right after halftime, Alabama had a 4-play, 11-yard drive, didn't go anywhere. Oklahoma had a quick 3-and-out. Alabama's very next drive, 3 plays, 60 yards, started off a huge run by Hill out the shotgun. And the next play after the incompletion by Ty Simpson was a 30-yard touchdown pass to Brooks, his second of the game, which brought the Tide ahead of the Oklahoma Sooners, 24-17 for their first lead of the game, and I believe their first lead of the season against Oklahoma after they got kind of manhandled in that first game at Bryant-Denny. Very next drive for Oklahoma, still reeling, 3 plays, 0 yards. They got a quick 3-and-out. Very next drive by by Alabama, was a 9-play, 40-yard drive that ended with a field goal, which at that point, anybody who was watching the game and saw the momentum, you knew the game was pretty much over. Alabama had snatched all momentum from the Oklahoma Sooners at that point. They had started rocking and rolling on offense. Their defense was shutting down everything Oklahoma was doing, which again, it's Oklahoma. Their offense hasn't been great all season long, but still, their defense was supposed to be the strong side of their team, but I think Oklahoma's defense really let them down, especially in that second half where they held on for that first drive, but then they just started giving them up the draws at that point. And just this 27-0 run, man, for the Crimson Tide really, they really knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. They played tough. They played a great game. They played strong. And they really started turning up the heat. Now, the very next drive that Oklahoma would get the ball, they would finally get on the board again, scoring another touchdown with John Mateer throwing the 37-yard touchdown pass to Burks, bringing the score to 27-24 with the Oklahoma Sooners only down by 3. They held Alabama to a punt the next drive. Oklahoma again had a quick 3-and-out there very next drive, which hurt them. Next time Alabama had the ball, after that last drive by Oklahoma, next time Alabama got the ball, they had a 4-play, 35-yard drive that ended with a 6-yard touchdown run by Hill. And at that point, it was sorry about that. At that point, it was minute 56 left in the fourth quarter. Game pretty much over. We all know what was going on with Oklahoma's offense. They had 2 missed field goals after that. They had a small chance to get back in the game, but Man, they really gave up the ghost with that, and they came out with a huge victory. The Alabama Crimson Tide did, and I thought they played really well. I think all the chat about them not deserving to be in the playoffs kind of got to them. Um, I think they internalized that. I think they looked at everything that was going on and they said, man, everyone's saying we don't belong because, we lost pretty big to the Georgia Bulldogs, who we beat earlier in the season. So honestly, it was just Georgia with their get back because, to be real, since Kalen DeBoer's been there, Georgia hasn't beat Alabama. Most people picked Alabama to win that game. So it's also kind of crazy that all of a sudden everyone looked at Alabama as this team who just couldn't beat anybody because they lost big to an opponent who they had lost to already, which is crazy to me. But people are fickle creatures, so what can you do? Um, but the next game for the Alabama Crimson Tide is going to be significantly tougher because they'll be going against the Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza and the Indiana Hoosiers, who, yes, this is correct, a college football playoff game, not a college basketball. It's not March Madness. This is going to be January 1st in the Rose Bowl, and I expect Indiana to come with everything. I think Indiana is going to play big. I think they're going to be hyped for that game. It's their first college football game in the playoffs this season, and the last under Kurt Signetti has been a revelation for this team. They look tough. They look ready to play. Fernando Mendoza being the Heisman Trophy winner, regardless of what you think of how he won it. Personal opinion, I think this year's crop of Heisman Trophy candidates was pretty weak, but still, I can't blame the boy for winning an award that he got. Anyway, as far as this game goes, Indiana runs the ball really well, and Alabama still has a pretty porous run defense. Um, Early predictions. I mean, to be honest with you, I have Indiana winning this game, but the way Alabama looked, I'm not too confident in it because that defense was flying all over the place. They were playing tough, hard nosed football, and I think they're going to have their secondary rocking and ready to play. And Ryan Williams again was a no show, but this huge game against Indiana, where they're a big underdog, Ryan Williams, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's going to have a pretty big game. People are talking about him going in the transfer portal. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think he's staying with the Crimson Tide. Um, and Ty Simpson, who played phenomenal tonight. He didn't force anything that didn't need to be forced. He made timely plays. He got sacked a few times, but he also avoided a lot of big pressures when that offensive line was still settling into the game early on. And he didn't exacerbate a bad situation by making it worse, which is, I think, the mark of a really good quarterback. As far as the prospects go for the NFL draft, I think both of these quarterbacks are first round picks. Fernando Mendoza is probably going to go in the top five. Ty Simpson, I think, is going to go in the top half of the first round if he decides to come out. He throws a really catchable ball. He doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's a smart quarterback. He avoids the blitz well. He understands his protections, and he's really smart, and you can tell. And he's also a pretty athletic guy because he avoided a lot of things and played really well under pressure this year. But my early prediction for this game, again, I have Indiana winning a score. Right now, I'm gonna go Indiana, Indiana 28, Alabama 23. Um, and right now, the Vegas odds I see on the game have Indiana favored by 6.5. So, I think I kind of believe in that a little bit, but I don't know. Vegas has them as more than a touchdown favorite, and I think that might be their downfall. But again, huge congrats to the Crimson Tide closing out with a huge win against the Oklahoma Sooners. It was a great game to open this college football playoff weekend. Um, I'm going to come with some predictions early in the morning. Thank you all for showing up again. This has been OD with Tuck Through Sports. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good night and stay safe. Peace.